Welcome back, data nerds. What's up? In this session, we are actually going to import a CSV file in our MySQL and we're going to do some real analysis. But before that, let me give you a quick recap on what we have done till now. So we have covered all the important theoretical topics till now, like what is a database, what is a primary key, foreign key. In the next session, we covered the commands of SQL, like data definition language, data manipulation language. We understood that part in detail. In third session, we took a quick tour on SQL Workbench, the very tool we are going to use now. In the last session, we created a database, we created a table, we inserted rows and columns inside that table. So that's what we have done till now. But now in this session, we are going to import a real-time CSV and we are going to do some real kind of analysis. Okay, so let's get started. So this is the table that we are going to import in our SQL in order to analyze. And as you can see, this is a shoe sales data. And we have following columns. So we have sales ID, we have date, we have brand, shoe type, then we have color, country, and sales channel, and then we have price USD, units sold, and revenue USD. So let's quickly import this sheet in our SQL so we can analyze it. So we are back to our SQL tool, and this is what we did in the last session. If you remember, we created a database called sales. After that, we created a table called people, which if I click on this drop down, I can see inside tables, we have people created. And then we inserted these columns. So columns were as follows. If I click on this people, I can see the columns, right? So we had these columns inserted. Inside that column, we inserted few rows, right? So this was what we did in our last session. And at the end, we ran a very simple query called select everything from people, which showed us these values which we have inserted. Okay. So this was what we did in the last session, but now we're not going to do that. We're just going to insert a real CSV file that I just showed you. Let's do that. Now, before we actually insert the table, we need to decide that in which database we are going to insert that table. Currently, I have two databases. One is Awesome Chocolates. If I click on Awesome Chocolates, I can see schema is showing Awesome Chocolates and it's telling that currently you have selected this database. Second is sales. If I click on sales, same thing happened here. I want to insert my CSV inside this database, which is sales, inside sales, which we created in our last session. Okay, so all I have to do is click on sales, right click on sales. This will open a box like that, which will have following options. In this, you have to click on this table data import wizard. Just click on that. After you click on that, a dialog box like this will open. There you have to choose the file path. All you have to do is browse and go. This is my shoe sales, right? So I just open it. And then you have to click on next. It gives you a few options. So it asks, so do you want to use the existing table, which is sales.people, or you want to create a new table? I want to create a new table inside sales. So this was my database options. We have two databases, Awesome Chocolates and sales. I want to be in the sales. And then I want to create a new table called shoes sales. That's what the name I want to have for my table. You can change whatever name you want here. And then it says drop table if exists. So I have checked it because I want to make sure that if anything like this already exists, I want it to get deleted and the fresh table should be updated. Then comes next. Now it gives you a preview of your metadata. It gives you the data type of your columns. So as you can see, we have sale ID, which is text, date is text, brand is in text format, shoe type is in text format. And if I just scroll down, we had this price USD, which is in double, which means decimals, and then we have units sold in int, because of course, how many number of units you have sold cannot be in the decimal. And then again, you have revenue USD, which is also in double. If you want, you can change from here, whatever data type you want. Currently, I do not want to make any changes in that. I just want to move ahead with the data type as it is. So, and here you get a little preview of your data set. I'm just going to click on next. Now, it says that we are going to perform these two steps. We are going to prepare for import and then we are importing the data file, okay? And it says click next to execute. So all you have to do is click on next and that's it. The process has started. It will take a couple of seconds before it imports your data set and it's already done. Just click on next and finish the importing. Here, it gives you a few information that it says that we have imported a file from this path and table sales.shoe_sales was created. Why does it say sales.shoe_sales? Because this sales represents the database And then shoes underscore sales is our table's name. That's what it is. It has 1000 records, and that's why it's showing me that 1000 records were imported. Let's finish it. Okay. Now you would see that if you click on table, you still can see just one table which we previously created, but we already have imported a new table, right? We can't see. Always remember to refresh. So just go on the database in which you have imported the new table, right click and refresh. Ta-da! You got shows sales. So yes, we got the new table which we just imported. Just click on the drop down, click on the drop down of columns, and you can see the columns have been imported. Now, I would not want to do the analysis on the same page, which is SQL1. I would like to open a new query page. How do we open that? I'll just go here and I'll click on that. And this will open a fresh new page for me. What do you do when you import a table? You first want to see the whole data, right? Let's write a query for that. When you want to select everything, what do you write? A star. So you'll write select everything from, what is the table's name? Table's name is shoes underscore sales. Okay, that's it. Just, yep. You can see the data, the columns that we saw in our CSV file are exactly available in SQL as well. So we had sales ID, we had date, brand, shoe types, color, country, sales channel, and then 3 numeric columns. So this was it when you want to see the full data. There's something to think. This was just a data set of 1000 rows. What if you have millions of rows data, billions of rows data? Would you want to extract the whole data again and again? No, right? Nobody wants to see that. Even if I see this data, it doesn't make sense. I don't know which brand has done well. I don't even know which country has done well, which country has not done well, from which sales channel we have brought the highest revenue. We can't say anything, right? For that, we need to have conditions. Now, what if you just want to see the sales from Nike brand? Or what if you just want to see the sales from USA country? How are you going to do that? For that, we have something called where clause. Okay, SQL gives you a clause which is where, and we are going to use that clause in our query. So let's start using it. Imagine I just want to see the sales from Nike brand. That is our question is for time being. We'll just write select everything, because we want to return all the columns that we have in our data set. So we're writing select everything from, this remains absolutely same, shoe sales. After that, you write where, WHERE, which is a normal English vocab, where, what was our condition? Brand should be Nike. That was our condition, right? So we'll write brand, right, is equal to Nike. Now Nike is a text. Brand was a text data type. So what do you do when you have a text data type? You wrap it inside inverted comma, and then you write Nike. And that's it. Your query is ready. Let's run and see that are we getting the right result. Now let's see. In brand, you have, if I just click on this brand, double click on this brand just to sort it, it shows Nike. So yes, we have got our result, and it only shows the data of brand Nike. So that is where your where clause comes in, and that is where it helps. Now, where clause comes with a lot of operators. So we have something called logical operators, which includes and, or, and not. Let's understand with an example. Here we just had one condition, which was brand is equal to Nike. Now, what if your manager wants to see brand is equal to Nike, but I also want to see the Nike sales in country USA. Now you have two conditions being applied on two different columns. So one condition should be on brand, which is Nike. Another condition should be on country, which is USA. How are you going to do that? You are going to use an operator called and. With where, you're going to use an operator called and you are going to apply conditions on both of these columns. Let's do that. So you write select everything from, this remains same because you are calling shoe sales, because you are calling all the columns where brand is equal to Nike, and we want to see brand Nike sales and in USA country. So both of these conditions should be satisfied, and whenever you want both of these conditions to be satisfied, what do you use? And country should be USA. So country is equal to, again, country was also a text data type. So we're going to wrap it up inside an inverted comma, and USA. And that's it. You're just going to run this. Now the difference you see, before when you ran this query, you had sales from all the countries, but now you have brand is equal to Nike and country is equal to USA. So now you have more niche data, and this will be better for analysis. You can see that, is Nike brand doing well in USA? Right? Now again, if you want to add more conditions, like you want to see that, okay, for Nike brand in USA country, how online channel has performed, which channel has performed well. So you want to see that I want to see which online channel has performed. So you are going to put one more condition, and you're going to write sales channel, this will give you a suggestion, is equal to online. Again, wrap it around the inverted comma because it's a text data type, and run this. So now you have only these many rows, which is from brand Nike, the country is USA, and the sales channel is online. So now you see how can you combine AND operator with where, and you can get the data. So that was about where with AND operator. Now what you have two different conditions and you want either of them to be satisfied, you are going to use something called OR operator. For example, if you have a condition where brand should be Nike or the country should be UK. So this is my condition. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense as of from this data set, but just understand the concept of writing SQL, okay? So let's write that. We are going to combine OR operator with where. Select everything from show sales, where brand is equal to Nike. What was our condition? It was OR. We do not want to use AND because we want either of these conditions to be satisfied. So we are going to use OR operator, and country is equal to UK, right? Country is equal to UK. Let's run this. Yes. So either it gives you brand Nike and country is UK. Now here the brand was not Nike, it was Puma, right? But the country was UK. Here the country was India, it was not UK, but the brand was Nike. So either of the conditions were satisfied. If you want things like that, if you want these kinds of conditions to be satisfied, you are going to use OR operator, right? So that's that. Then comes the third logical operator, which is not. You want to see the brand sales, which is not Nike, anything other than Nike. What are you going to do? In that case, you're going to write a query which looks like select everything from your table where not. So you're going to write this not. Which column you are going to put this condition on? Brand, right? So now you'll write the column name is equal to Nike. So it says, it gives the command to SQL that now do not show me the sales of Nike. Show me everything else. Now just run this query. And you would notice that not even one row contains Nike sales. And this is what we wanted, right? We wanted to exclude the Nike sales. And that's what happened. So this is what logical operator does. You can combine where with AND, where with OR, and then you can combine where with not. So that was about logical operator. After logical operator, we have an interesting operator called IN operator. Now let's understand where do you use it. Imagine you just have 2-3 conditions on one column. So if you remember, we had something called a color column, right? Now we have blue color shoe, gray, white, red. We have all these color shoes. What if your manager wants to see the sales of black? Do we have black? Yes, we have black. What if your manager wants to see the black color shoes sales and white color? Both of them he wants to see. How are you going to write that? Now, since you are applying the conditions on the same column, remember that condition is very important. You are going to apply the two conditions on the same column. Let's just start like this. Select everything from table where color, right? Where color is equal to, so the first condition was black. No, you just don't want to see the black color. You also want to see the white color sales show. You want both of them to come in your data set. What are you going to use? And or or? If you use and operator, think. If you use and operator, then your SQL will think that I have to show the sales of those kind of shoes who are black as well as white. That doesn't work, right? I mean, shoe can be either black or white. You do not have any shoe which has both colors. In this case, you're going to use or operator. So here the SQL will understand that, okay, I have to show either black or white. Resultantly, it will show both of these color shoe sales. So that's what your agenda. Always understand where to use and where to use or. If you are applying conditions on two different columns and if you want both of them to be satisfied, then you use and operator. But here we are applying the conditions on one column itself and we want both of them to be satisfied. Here we are going to use or operator. So you have to use that thinking, okay? Then we are going to or and color is equal to white. Now SQL understands that, okay, I have to provide those data set where color is black or white. So both of them I have to provide. Let's run this. And let's check the color. Yes, now it only shows white, black, white, black. It does not show any other colors. But what if the conditions like that keep increasing? You have more number of rows, you have more number of conditions. What if you had 10 number of colors? Are you going to write where color is equal to black or color is equal to white or color is equal to red? Or you have to keep writing like that. You have something called in operator which solves this problem. What you have to do? Instead of repeating color is equal to this, color is equal to that, all you have to do is select everything from show sales where color in. Now you will not use the equal to operator, you are going to use in, which will look like this, and then you are going to give a bracket. Cool, let's close this, and inside this bracket you can write whatever color you wanted the data from. That's it. Let's write black, comma, let's write white. So now you don't have to repeat this step again and again. The color is equal to black, color is equal to white. You don't have to write like that. Let's run this and see what happens. Yes, we got the same result. So you see, when we ran previous query, we got 306 rows. Let me just bring it up. You see the previous query where we wrote like this, where color is equal to black, where color is equal to white, we got 306 records. And when we replaced this repetition with in operator, we still got 306 rows. So it shows that the same thing can be done smartly with in operator. Okay. Now you can keep adding more number of colors if you want. Maybe if you also want to see the red colors, say you just go and add the red color. That's it, and this will show you red as well, right? So in addition to white and black, now your color condition also has red. So we are done with the combination of where plus in operator as well. Then comes, of course, if there's in, there has to be not in. What if you want to exclude these colors? So you have multiple conditions on one column, but you do not want those conditions to be satisfied. What do? You just copy this query and paste here, and let me give this first. Yeah. And then before in, all you have to do is apply not. That's it. So now you are giving command to SQL that I want to see sales from all those colors which are not black, not white, not red. So whatever remaining colors are there, show me those sales. Let's run this. And yeah, it gives you the color blue, gray, green. It gives all the other remaining colors. It excludes black, white, red. Simple, right? If you want something, you put in. If you do not want something, you put not in. I think basic. So this was the concept of where plus in and where plus not in. Now let's move on towards other operators. The other interesting operator is comparison operator. So, you must have, in mathematics, we always use greater than, equal to, not equal to, greater than or equal to. What if, because you have something called sales column, you have units sold. What if you want to see the sales where we have sold greater than maybe 14 units? You want to see all those sales. Which operator you're going to use? You're going to use comparison operator. we have a mathematical sign called greater than, equal to, not equal to, right? So we are going to use those operators. What was the question? The question is that you want to see those rows where number of units sold greater than 18. That was your question. Let's try to select everything from the table where units sold. So what is the column name? Units sold greater than 18. Remember, greater than 18. Notice, you are not wrapping this 18 inside inverted comma. Why? Because this column, units sold, is not a text column. It was an int column, and you do not wrap int inside inverted comma. Let's run this. Let me sort it out. If you click on this units sold column, double click, it will sort the column. So let me just sort it out. It shows it starts from 19. If I again double click on this, it will show me the highest units sold. It shows 20, right? So the minimum was 19. Since we have given the condition, it should be greater than 18. That's why it is only giving me those rows where units sold were greater than 19. Simple. What if you want to see the less than 19? I want to see all those rows where we have sold less than 18 units. Simple. What do you want to do? Just remove this and make it less than 80. No brainer. Yeah, let me again sort it out. If I just click on this, it starts with 1 and it has to end with 17 because we wrote less than 18. Simple, right? Now what if you want to show the rows where units being sold were 18 and greater than 18? What are you going to do? Remove this lesser than condition, have greater than, and then add equal to. What it does, it gives you 18 as well as greater than 18, right? That's what it's called, greater or equal to operator. Let's run this. Now let me sort it out. It starts with 18. This time it does not start with 19. Why? Because you have used equal to as well. And then it ends at 20 because the maximum units of shoe that we have sold is 20. So that was it. Similarly, it can be with less than or equal to. Now this will not consider 18. It will consider 18. So let's click on this. We have it starting from 1 and it will now go till 18. Yes, previously if you remember when we used less than operator, it was ending on 17. Now it's considering 18 as well. Simple. Now there's one more operator which is called not equal to operator. Okay, let me show you. What if you want to see all the sales but you do not want to include the brand called New Balance? This brand should not be there in your data set. Maybe you are presenting the sales to a team which does not deal with New Balance. New Balance is being dealt by other team and you're showing this data to those team who do not deal with New Balance. So you don't want to show that data, right? For that, you want to exclude New Balance. All you have to do is in where condition, remove this, write brand not equal to. Now, how do you write not equal to? There are two ways of writing not equal to. One is this and this, okay? And you'll write inside New Balance. You have to write exactly the way it exists in your data set, okay? And that's it. Now, if you see in brand, you won't see New Balance anywhere. You won't see that. Let's scroll and see. Do you see anywhere New Balance? You don't, because it has excluded New Balance, okay? Now, as I told you, there are two ways of writing not equal to. Let me show you what are the other way. Copy, paste. So now we have this one operator which is also working to show not equal to, and then you can also write the same thing using this exclamation mark and equal to. Let's run this and see, does it work same way? Oh yes, it does. If you see the previous query which we ran gave me 837 rows, okay? And the new query which I ran, which was using this not equal to operator, it also gave me the same number of records, which means that both are working absolutely fine. So this was about comparison operators. So now let's move towards other operators. Now comes a very important operator, which is between operator, okay? You have date. If you remember, you have a column called date. What if you want to see the sales of March, April, and May? That's it, because that's according to your company, it's a peak season and you want to see that how much have we made in that peak season. How are you going to write that? Select everything from Sorry. What is this? Come on. Shoe sales. Am I writing it wrong? No, I think it's right. Yeah. Select everything from shoe sales. Where? Date. So you have to give condition on date. Since you want the data of March, April and May, you would write date between, okay? Between March starting and May ending. That's how you should write it, correct? How does your, so again, I'm giving the inverted comma because my date is a text data type in this data set, okay? What am I going to write? What is March starting date? March starting date would be 2025-03-01. So this is 1st March 2025 and you want to start it from March 1 and you want to go till, so this between operator always comes with the combination of and, between and. What should be the end date of May? It should be 2025, then month 05 and then date 31. Now you are giving command to SQL that show me the data which is between March and May. You want to see all the sales between this. Just run this and let's see. Let me sort this date column. If I click, yeah, you know, it starts showing data from 1st March. So the first is 1st March, and we have 2nd, 3rd, 4th. If I just double click again to see what is the latest date it has provided, it is 31st May. And that is what we wanted, right? So whenever you have these kinds of columns where you want to deal with dates and you want to see the data between two particular date ranges, this is how you do it. You use between and. You combine these two operators and then you write queries and this is going to work perfectly fine. So I think it was clear. Now comes a very interesting operator, which is like operator, okay? This operator is going to make a lot of sense when you are working with a data set. It has name in it. So imagine you have 2-3 girls with the K name, maybe KS name, okay? And you want to know all these girls who has KS in the beginning of the name. How you're going to write it? I'm going to show a different example as per my dataset because I do not have a column name in this, but you'll understand the concept. Okay. Select everything from shoes sales. Where? So let's imagine a situation where you want to see the sales of the color which starts with blue. Just like that. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but as I said, if you have a different kind of data where you have name in your column or you have columns which actually make sense, then you'll understand the importance of it. But for now, I'm just going to show you the importance of this operator. So the color, like, you are going to use an operator called like, and what did we want? We want B, and then you are going to give a sign percentage. Now this gives SQL a command that give me all the rows where color should start with B. Since you have written B in the beginning, it has to start with B. The color column has to start with B, and after that you have given something called percentage, which indicates that any color, any number of characters, if it comes after B, I'm okay with that, but it has to start with B. Let's run this and see what happens. In the color section, you see blue, black. So these are the two colors which starts with B in our data set, and that's why we are getting only these many rows. Understood? Now, imagine you have, now what happens if I have a condition like that? The name should end with something. I'm not sure what was the beginning letter, but I remember it was ending with a particular word, particular letters. If you have that kind of condition, all you have to do is this percentage, you shift it to the beginning. So now the letters from the beginning are unknown. We don't know how this word started, but we are sure that it ended with, maybe we'll take CK. So the color was ending with CK, but I'm not sure how it was starting. Let's run this and show. It only gives you color as black because black was the only color which was ending with CK. That's it. So that's why it only gives you one color. Let's try this on other columns. So we have maybe brand. I will give a condition that the column name was ending with DAS, DAS. Just to show you how does it work, let me give you brand, and then again the condition is I don't remember how it was starting, but it was ending with DAS. Let's give this, let's run this. So it will give only AD-DAS because that was the one brand which was ending with DAS. We do not have any other brands ending with DAS, and that's why it's showing that, right? Now, one very important condition I would like to highlight here, that if you are using percentage, it does not limit the number of characters, okay? In place of percentage, you can have number of characters and there's no limitation, there's no restriction. But there's one more operator called underscore. Instead of percentage, if you use underscore, underscore is going to make sure that in the place of underscore, you can have only one more letter. Imagine, if I remove, let me just copy paste. Now, let's replace this percentage with underscore. Will I get the result? Let's see. I'll not get any result. Why? Because now SQL is searching for a brand which should have something like one letter and then we should have DAS. That's it. Previously, when we used this and it gave me Adidas. Why? Because before DAS, we were not restricting any number of letters, and ADI were 3 letters, and since we did not restrict and percentage brings all the number of letters, it brought the column. But now you have given underscore instead of percentage, and underscore thinks that I only have to bring that column which will have one more letter in the place of underscore, and after that we'll have DAS. Do we have any such column? We do not have, and that's why you see no data returned. Let me show you one more example to make more sense. Sorry. Okay. Imagine I want a brand which is starting with Nike maybe, and then there was one letter. So it should have only 4 number of letters. It was starting with NIK and there's one more letter. Do we have something like that? Let's see. It will give only Nike because Nike was the only brand which was starting with NIK, and it was after that we just needed one more letter to complete this brand, and that's what command we gave to SQL, and it was searching for that brand which has just one more letter after NIK, and we got Nike. So you understood the difference between percentage and underscore, right? The logic is same, the concept is same, just that the percentage does not restrict the number of letters before bringing in, underscore does. Okay, so I think we are done with like operators as well. So these are the important operators that you'll very often encounter while writing where clause. This actually narrows down the data set because you might have data in millions and billions and you do not want to extract every time using everything. Star mark. You do not want, because of course it consumes more time, it consumes more power, and it does not make any sense. So you would want to use where clause and you want to put all these conditions depending upon the need. And that's why it's very important to master where clause. So yeah, this was it for today. I hope where clause made sense. I hope you learned all the operators and a combination of operators that we can use with where clause. And again, as I always say, I want you to practice on your own. I want you to import this data set. I want you to practice. I want you to think of the conditions, that what all conditions are coming to your mind and how can you write extra additional queries using this data set. And if you have any query, you can reach out to me in the comment section. Till then, study hard, practice more, and meet me in the next session. Bye bye.